Hi, I'm Benjamin with NAZ Solar Electric, and today we'll be looking at the Pytes Pi LV1. It's a stackable modular 51.2 volt solution. Here on the bottom, we have the base. The base comes with the battery control unit, and you have one control unit per stack. So you buy a control unit, you get the base and the top unit, and then you can pair between one module and up to 6 modules. These modules are 51.2 volts. They are 100 amp hours, so 5.12 kilowatt hours, and Pytes calls them the BMU. These batteries come in a little over 9 inches in depth, so very manageable to install in a tight garage or somewhere where you don't have much floor space. Each battery module, or BMU, is about 20 inches tall and about 27 inches wide. So if we have one battery in a stack, our stack is about 22 inches tall. If we were to put 6 modules in a stack, we are about 72, 73 inches tall. Each battery module weighs about 120 pounds. There's lifting handles for somebody to grab on each side. With the battery being very narrow and light, we can easily install it in hard to get places like a basement where you have to walk downstairs. 2 people can easily get batteries down the stairs. The unit is IP55 rating, so we can install it outdoors. It does have integrated heaters, but we do want it under some cover. We don't want it exposed to direct elements. The unit here provides over 6,000 cycles and has a 10-year warranty. The battery control unit has a few other features that we should mention. We can parallel multiple battery stacks together, so we can have up to 8 stacks or about 260 kilowatts of total capacity. And each BCU comes with integrated Wi-Fi monitoring from SolarMan. So if you buy a stack, you already have monitoring included. We can parallel a few without a hub, or if we're doing large systems, we will probably need the hub. The battery control unit, the top unit, comes with 8 screws to mount it to the wall using these L brackets here. We got ones for the wall, and we got ones for the battery. So you mount this to the BCU, you mount this to the wall, they bolt up right there, and then you'll use one of these screws and these nuts to hold it to the wall so it doesn't fall over. Also comes with 2 concrete anchors and then 1 locking plate set. The locking plate allows us to bolt the BCU to the BMU, and it has screws and 2 covers. So if we open one up here, we got 8 screws, and then we got 2 covers here. And so you'll have 2 screws on the bottom of the BCU and 2 screws on the top of the battery module, and you'll have 1 for each side. We also have this cover here that allows for our power cables and our communications from the BCU to the inverter with its screws. And then we got the 2 battery bolts, allowing us to bolt the positive and negative cables into the BCU. Each battery module, BMU, comes with another locking plate set with its 8 screws. So with us having 3 modules here, we have 3 more sets of locking plates. The positive negative connections are embedded deep into the side of the unit. So you're going to want to make sure you source right angled battery cables. We have those also available from Pytes 4/0 wire. We have console ports. So if you need to update, or like Pytes wants you to communicate with the battery module, you can plug in their console cable to communicate with each module. Here we have our negative and our positive battery connections, and then we got dip switches over here to tell the system what inverter we're talking to or what stack we have when we're communicating with multiple stacks. And then over here we have 6 RJ45 jacks. The top left would be to interface with it with a laptop. Then we have CAN and RS45 on the top. And then down below we have link 1, link 0 to parallel communication between stacks. Over here on the left, we have some digital inputs and outputs for future use. Here on the back of the BCU, we have this hockey puck looking thing. That's the Wi-Fi antenna for remote monitoring. Over here, we have 2 screws on the left and the right, and that's for the bracket for stabilization. So we can bolt this right here, and then the other part will bolt to the wall. So this bracket here is to prevent the battery from collapsing but all the weight is on the base. The locking plates will go here between each of the sections. We bolt them together to make the whole stack one big piece. It's cool because these little powder coated things have little bevels on it. The screws are all flush. Like the little details like that. The cool thing about this is you can install this outside and not have to buy an enclosure to rack the modules in. If your jurisdiction requires an enclosure indoors so that you don't have any connections exposed, this battery also works for that application too. So we can go ahead and remove the caps for unused ports here. We're going to use the positive, the negative here. And we're going to feed our battery cables. We're going to feed the positive, negative. Because I have 3 modules here today, those together can provide about 7 kilowatts of recommended discharge power. So 2-watt cable is definitely fine for that. But if you're doing more than 3, 4, 5, or 6 modules in a stack, it's recommended to use that 4-watt battery cables that Pytes provides. Now that we got all the connections made, we can screw the cover on. We want to make sure the breaker in the inverter is on. And then we're going to turn the breaker on the stacks. This way, with these breakers on, the battery can use its pre-charge circuit to start charging up the capacitors inside the inverter. Each battery module has a power switch, and we'll want to press that for all of them. So now that all the battery modules are on, then we can push for 3 seconds the front one, and the unit will start powering up. We have a little SOC state of charge here, so we can see just at a glance that it's about 50% full, and then we got an alarm light and a flashing run light. So here we're discharging the batteries slightly because the inverter's running, and they're about 50% full. We got the Solar Man app here. We got the stackable battery connected to our internet here, and now we can see overall we have a 53% state of charge. We can dive into the details. The first module or first battery thing here is the BCU, so all the aggregated data, and then we got 3 modules. So if we just click on one here at random, we can go more details. We see information regarding the firmware and what the battery is, and then we can dive into the pack details. We can see how many cycles it has, charge voltages, what parameters it's set for. We can go into the core details each cell. This data is very helpful if you have multiple stacks of batteries and you have an alarm, you want to dive into which module's alarming. The app for remote monitoring is definitely key for that. Thanks for watching. If you have any questions or would like to purchase these batteries, give us a call and we'll be able to help you out.